Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to discuss the MCQ paper of 2020 Science O-level paper. Okay, so let's move on to first question. Right. So in the first question, they are asking the fundamental structure and function unit of life is the right. Normally, we say that structure and function unit of life is called as cell. So it's easy. For answer should be the first one. Next one. What is the pair of subatomic particles which attract each other? Right? There are three subatomic particles. Number one is protons, other one is electrons, and other one is neutron. Proton, electron, neutron. So when you take proton, electron, neutron, proton is positively charged, electron is negatively charged, and neutron, they don't have any charges, right? So which attracts each other? That means positive and negative are attracting each other. So answer should be protons and electrons. Answer is second one. Next one, question number 3. The unit of momentum is, momentum is equal to mass into velocity, right? Mass is measured in kilograms, velocity is measured in ms minus 1. So answer should be kilogram meters per second. Answer is first one. Question number 4. The figure ABC below indicates three types of muscle tissues. So you have ABC, three types. They're asking ABC respectively. Now A, it has tapering ends, right? So this muscle should be smooth muscle. Okay. Then next one, in C, if I take C, those muscle tissues are branch, right? So branch muscle tissues are present in cardiac muscle tissue. Okay. So ultimately B will be skeletal muscle tissue, right? Long cylindrical muscle tissue are called as skeletal. Okay. So answer should be first one smooth, then skeleton, then cardiac. Answer is third one. Question number 5. Which of the following is the molecule with highest number of covalent bonds? Okay. So let's draw these, right? Oxygen, there is a double bond between the atoms, right? So this will be the structure of oxygen. When you take nitrogen, there will be a triple bond between two nitrogen atoms. So there are only three bonds. When you take ammonia, NH3, there are three single bonds between nitrogen and hydrogen atoms. Okay. When you take carbon dioxide, it's C double bond O, C double bond O. Here you can see there are two double bonds here. That means there are four bonds altogether. So highest number of bonds is present in carbon dioxide. Okay. Question number 6. Heat is transmitted from sun to earth by. So first one they have given radiation, conduction, convection, radiation, convection. Okay. So there are three methods of transferring heat. Number one is conduction. Next one is convection. Another one is radiation. First two, that means conduction and convection needs medium, while radiation doesn't need any medium. Right? So when you take from sun to earth, there is a vacuum in between. So to pass the vacuum, it should be radiation always. Conduction and convection needs particles to transmit heat. Okay, so answer should be first one here, radiation. Question number 7. As was extracted by a student from an environmental pyramid, that ecosystem has one producer. Okay, so let's mark it. One producer, then 8 primary consumers, and then 23 secondary consumers. The student has extracted this information from her. Right. So if you place this in a diagram, see, one is a small one, then 8, 23. You can see this is an inverted pyramid, right? And also they have given the number of consumers and producers. Then the answer should be it's a number pyramid and also it's inverted. Okay, so answer should be second one, inverted number pyramid. Then question number 8. Here shown the displacement time graph of the motion of an object during the time interval from 0 to t1 and t1 to t2. The nature of the motion of the object respectively is. Okay, so when you can see displacement time graph until t1, right? There's a straight line. Okay, so if it is a straight line, it should be always uniform velocity. So here to here, it's uniform velocity, right? But from t1 to t2, you can see there's a curve, right? Yeah, there's a curve, and the curve is reducing so that gradient becomes 0 after some time at time t2. Okay, so if the gradient is 0, that means the object has come to rest. So what is happening here is the object is moving with uniform velocity, and after some time the object is decelerating and it is coming to rest. So answer should be Answer number 2, uniform velocity and retardation. Retardation means deceleration. Question number 9. They have given information and an illustration. Production of hemoglobin is disturbed by thalassemia, an inherited disease caused by the gene mutation in a somatic chromosome. With regard to the production of hemoglobin naturally, the dominant gene is T, capital T, while the mutant gene is simple T. ABCD indicate F1 generation. Okay, so they are asking the thalassemia patient belonging to the F1 generation is. Okay, so if we take this here, if I take A is getting capital T, capital T. So that will be dominant. When you take B will get capital T, simple T. That's also they have the dominant gene. So thalassemia, it's a carrier, right? Then when you take C, it is getting capital T and simple T. It's also a carrier. When you take D is getting two simple T's. That means this is the thalassemia patient, right? Thalassemia is transmitted by a genetic disease. If two recessive genes comes together, that means that patient will have thalassemia. So the thalassemia patient is belonging to D. Okay. When you take capital T and simple T, those will be carriers, right? That means they can transmit this thalassemia gene to the other generation without thalassemia. So question number 10, the ratio among the thalassemia patients, healthy disease carriers and healthy individuals belonging to the F1 generation is. So I told you, thalassemia patient, there is only one, that is simple T, 1. Healthy disease carriers will be capital T, simple T, that will be 2. Healthy individuals, that is capital T, that will be 1. So ratio will be 1:2:1. So answer is third one. Question number 11. Which statement is always true about the magnitude of displacement of a certain object? Okay, let's read. Answer number 1, greater than the distance moved. Right, displacement cannot be greater. Why? Let's say here and here, A, B are 2 points, right? The shortest distance between these 2 points will be the displacement, right? But if you take this, something like this, right? This will be the distance moved, right? So let's say there are 2 paths, like this is path X and this is path Y. When someone is moving from A to B through X or through Y, both will be called as distances. But this Y is special. Why? Because it's the shortest distance between these 2 points. And that means Y will be displacement also. So distance and displacement can be equal, and also displacement sometimes can be less than the distance. So when you take the answers, second one equal to distance mode, that's also kind of correct. But let's read the other answers also. Lesser than the distance mode, that's also somewhat correct. Fourth one, either equal to or less than distance mode, that is the most suitable answer. Here I told you, when you take X and Y will be less than X. That means the displacement will be less than distance, or it will be equal to it. So answer is fourth one. Question number 12. The electronic configuration of atoms of two elements X and Y are 281 and 287 respectively. Of the following statements about the pair of those elements, which statement is false? So they say that it is located in the same period. It's correct, right? Why? These two elements X and Y have 3 digits. No? If they are having 3 digits, that means both of these X and Y elements are belonging to third period. Okay. Then so first one is correct. The next one, located in the same group. That's wrong. Why? 281. So in X, group is 1. In Y, group is 7. The last digit represents the group number. So false answer is second one. Let's read third one also. Chemically combined forming ionic bonds. That's also correct. Why? Here 281 is sodium, while 287 is chlorine, right? So these two will form a ionic bond. That's also correct. Fourth answer, combine and form the compound with the chemical formula XY. That's correct. Sodium chloride, that means XY. So fourth one is also correct. False statement is the second one. So answer is second one. Question number 13. What is the number of oxygen molecules containing 64 grams of oxygen gas? Let's say you have O2 and that is 64 grams. When you take molar mass of oxygen, right, it will be 32 grams, right? One oxygen is 16. That means if there is O2, that will be 16 into 2. That will be 32 grams per mole, right? So to find the number of moles, you can use this equation. Number of moles is equal to mass divided by molar mass. So here the mass is 64 grams divided by the molar mass, that is 32 gram per mole. So you'll get gram cancels, per mole will become mole. 64 divided by 32 is 2. So answer will be 2 moles. So they're asking number of oxygen molecules. In Avogadro constant, they say that 1 mole consists of 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. That means for 2 moles, it will be double of that. That means 2 times 6.022 into 10 to the power 23. So answer will be second one. Question number 40. W, X, Y, Z are 4 elements consecutively placed in a periodic table with atomic number below 20. The graph indicates how their first ionization energy varies against the atomic number. In which group of the periodic table is Y is placed? Okay. So here you can see there is a large drop between W and X, right? Normally this large drop is present in between periods, right? So this W should be always a group 8 element and X should be in the group 1 of the next period. So X will be group 1, then Y will be group 2, and Z will be group 3. That's how you find. Okay. So they're asking the group number of Y. So Y group number will be group number 2. Question number 15. The substances acting as the components providing energy for the function of human body are, right? So normally proteins are there for body growth, right? Then carbohydrates and lipids are there for mainly energy, providing energy, right? So answer should be answer number 3. Question number 16. A person's glucose level in the body has increased above the optimum level, right? What is the optimum level? 80 to 120 milligram per 100 milliliters of blood, right? So which of the food items should he consume minimally, right? Then you have to choose the answer with the food which gives high amount of sugar or high amount of glucose level. So when you take meat, it's a protein, right? When you take milk, it's also protein. So it doesn't give any much amount of glucose. Green gram and bread. Green gram, mainly green gram has maltose in it. So when you take green gram and bread, right? Bread mostly have starch in it, right? So starch is a polysaccharide. So when you eat bread, polysaccharides can give large number of glucose molecules. But in green grams, it is less than that. One which gives highest amount of glucose is the one which that person should consume minimally. So answer number should be fourth one. Bread is the answer. 17. Select the fourth statement about the nucleic acid. Number 1, they say that building unit is called as nucleotide. That's correct. Then nucleic acid is natural polymer. That's also correct. It is forming naturally. Third one, store hereditary information. That's also correct. All the genetic information are stored in nucleic acids as DNA or RNA. Then fourth one, contain the element CHON only. That's wrong. Why? Nucleic acid contains CHON and also it contains P. That means phosphorus also is present in nucleic acid. So answer should be fourth one because it's a false statement. Question number 18. Examples for the seeds, fruits dispersed by water, wind, and explosive mechanisms are. So when you take number 1, Silonaman, that means Cotumber, has a shell, right, made up of fibers around it. So it is dispersed by water mainly. And then you have Horror, it is dispersed by wind. Then Mango, it is dispersed by animals. So the first one is wrong because it's not explosive. When you take Lotus, it is by water. Castor, it is by animals. And you have Rubber, rubber is by explosive mechanism. So here also, middle one is wrong, right? Castor is not using wind. So second one is wrong. Then third one, coconut, they have a shell, fiber shell around it. So it is dispersed by water. Milkweed or vara is dispersed by wind. That's correct. They have wing-like structure. Then rubber is by explosive mechanism. So third one should be the answer. If I take fourth one, jack is dispersed by animals mainly. Okay, so fourth one is wrong. 19th question. Which of the following does not pass into the fetus from the mother through the umbilical cord? Okay, let's think. This is the baby. Okay. So baby has eyes, mouth, and legs and hands also. Okay. So the fetus is connected to mother through a structure called as placenta. Right. Let's say this is the uterus part, the womb. Right. So this fetus is connected by placenta, the structure called as placenta. Placenta is useful so that it doesn't mix the blood of fetus with that of the mother, right? So placenta is the barrier in which it does not pass blood into the other side. Okay. So normally nutrients are passed into fetus. That's correct. Oxygen is passed into fetus through this. That's also correct. Pathogens, they can also be transmitted from this umbilical cord. But when you take blood doesn't pass through this umbilical cord. Why? Because mother's blood does not move through this placenta. Okay. So if the mother's blood doesn't move through this placenta, it will not move through the umbilical cord also. So answer should be answer number 1, blood. Then question number 20. What is the ray diagram which illustrates the phenomenon of total internal reflection? Right. What is happening in total internal reflection is, you should see, the first one is incident ray should be coming from denser medium and it should be happen to go through rarer medium, right? So always if there is total internal reflection, the incident ray should come from denser medium to rare medium. And also if the total internal reflection is always occurring, the incident angle and the reflected angle should be equal to each other, right? So when you take these 4 diagrams, fourth one, it's not reflecting, so it's wrong. Third one, it's a critical angle situation, that's also wrong. But when you take 1 and 2, those two are reflections. But in reflections, you should know that, as I told you before, incident angle and the reflected angle should be similar. So answer should be answer number 1. Here, the reflected angle is different in answer number 2. So you cannot take answer number 2 also. So answer is the first one. Question number 21. An athlete finishing a running event suffered from a cramp in his leg. What is the chemical compound which is produced in muscle cells causing the cramp? So, when cramp is occurring, right, it is occurring due to anaerobic respiration of the muscles, right? When there is less amount of oxygen, the muscle cannot produce ATP or energy using aerobic respiration. So muscle, what they do is they will convert aerobic respiration into anaerobic respiration and they will start anaerobic respiration. So in anaerobic respiration, what is happening here? They will produce lactic acid and carbon dioxide. Those lactic acid will cause the cramp in the leg. So question number 21 should be third one, that is lactic acid. Question number 22, a warm-blooded homeothermic animal and a cold-blooded poikilothermic animal respectively are. Okay, so homeothermic is another name for warm-blooded and poikilothermic is another name for cold-blooded, right? So as I told you before in the previous papers also, warm-blooded animals are the animals which doesn't change their body temperature with the environmental temperature. But in cold-blooded, their body temperature will be changed with that of the environment, right? So warm-blooded animals are mainly present in mammals and aves, while all the other vertebrate groups, that is Pisces, amphibia, and reptilia, those 3 groups will be cold-blooded animals. So let's see. The first answer, pigeon and frog. Pigeon is a aves, frog is a amphibian. So it's correct, right? So first one is correct here. When you take bear and rat, both of them are mammals, so they are warm-blooded. Rat, snake, and whale. Here, first one is poikilothermic, second one is homeothermic. That's wrong. Fourth one, crocodile and tortoise. Crocodile is a reptilia. Tortoise is also reptilia. So both of them will be cold-blooded. Question number 23. Which arrangement can be used to obtain a voltage of 3 volt from 2 devices, each with an electromotive force of 1.5 volt? So, when to get a voltage of 3 volt, the battery should be connected in series. That's how you get 3 volts, 1.5 plus 1.5. But if you connected these two in parallel, you will get 1.5 volts only. So you have to choose the arrangement with a series connection. So when you take 1 and 2, they are parallel connection. So these two are wrong. When you take 3 and 4, those two will be series connected. But in fourth one, see, plus terminal is connected to plus terminals, right? So they are the voltage will be 0. Why? Because there is plus 1.5 here and plus 1.5 here. So this arrangement will not be working. So to work the apparatus, the positive terminal of the transistor should be connected with negative terminal. So third one is the answer. Question number 24. What is the metal that reacts with hot water but not with cold water? So there's only one metal that is in your syllabus that is reacting with hot water but not with cold water, and that should be magnesium, right? So should be magnesium. When you take sodium, it reacts even with cold water. When you take aluminium, it has a layer of aluminium oxide. So it is normally not reacting if the metal oxide layer is not removed. And also when you take calcium, calcium readily react with water, even with cold water. So answer should be magnesium here. 25. What is the correct statement about COVID-19 virus? It can be observed by the optical microscope. That is wrong. Optical means a normal compound microscope. You cannot see it. You need an electron microscope for that because it's a virus. Then answer number 2, carries out metabolic activities. That's also wrong. Viruses don't have any metabolic activities of their own. So second one is also wrong. Number 3, bears a nucleus with DNA. That's also wrong. In COVID-19, it should be RNA. Fourth one, shows living as well as non-living characteristics. That's correct because viruses shows living as well as non-living characters. They show living characters only within the living host cell. Question number 26. When salt is extracted from seawater in a solvent, what is the compound that precipitates along with sodium chloride? Right, you know, in a solvent, when the sodium chloride is precipitating in the third tank, there will be magnesium chloride as well as magnesium sulfate precipitating with sodium chloride, right? So those two salts, magnesium chloride and magnesium sulfate, will be giving bitter taste to salt. So what do is we are keeping salts as heaps for 6 months to remove this magnesium chloride and magnesium sulfate. These magnesium chloride and magnesium sulfate will be absorbing atmospheric water vapor and they will be removed out of the salt heap. So at last you will get sodium chloride. Magnesium chloride and magnesium sulfate are hygroscopic compound, which means they absorb water vapor and they will dissolve and remove from the salt heap. So answer should be magnesium chloride. When you take calcium carbonate, it is the first chemical compound that is depositing in the first tank of the solvent. Calcium sulfate is depositing in the second tank. Okay, so in the third tank, it's sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, and magnesium sulfate. So answer should be magnesium chloride. 27. The maximum upthrust exerted by water on a certain object is less than weight of the object. Then the object will. So here see, weight is greater than the upthrust. Then when you take an object, if the weight is much more higher, the object will be sink to the bottom. That means will be sink fully until it touches the bottom of this container. So answer should be answer number 4. So if the upthrust and weight is equal, those objects will be floating. Either it is partially or completely floating in water or any other liquid. Question number 28. What is the part common to the human digestive system and human respiratory system? So, you know, when you take human digestive system, you have the mouth cavity, and then from pharynx, esophagus, stomach, likewise it goes. When you take the respiratory system, it starts from the nasal cavity, and then pharynx, larynx, trachea, and then it goes like that. So the common part which belongs to both of these systems is the pharynx part. So answer should be third one. Question number 29. The figure shows how a couple of forces applied to rotate a wheel of 0.4 meters radius. How much is the moment of this couple? So to find the moment of a couple of forces, what we are going to do is you have to multiply one force by the distance between the two forces. That is 0.4 and 0.4 here. So altogether, force is 5 newtons multiplied by D is 0.4 plus 0.4, altogether that will be 0.8 Newton. So answer is second one. Question number 30. What is the mole fraction of oxygen in a mixture containing 96 grams of oxygen gas and 56 grams of nitrogen gas? So to find the mole fraction, first you have to find the number of moles of oxygen and the number of moles of nitrogen gas. Okay, so let's find number of moles of oxygen. I write as NO2. Here oxygen, you have 96 grams. Divide by the molar mass. Molar mass of oxygen is 32 gram per mole. So you'll get it as 3 moles. Then number of moles of nitrogen is 56 grams divided by its molar mass, that is 28 gram per mole. So you'll get moles of nitrogen as 2 moles. So they're asking mole fraction of oxygen. That means moles of oxygen over the total moles, that is 2 plus 3. So answer will be 3 over 5 will be the answer. Answer number 3. 31. Given below are 4 ways by which zinc metal and hydrochloric acid were reacted at room temperature. In which way is hydrogen gas is liberated with higher speed? So to liberate hydrogen gas with a higher speed, the rate of reaction should be increased, right? So rate of reaction depends on 4 factors. What are they? Number 1 is surface area. When surface area increase, rate of reaction increase. Next one is temperature. When temperature increase, rate of reaction increase. Other one is the concentration. So when concentration increase, rate of reaction increase. And the fourth one is catalyst, right? So when in the presence of catalyst, rate of reaction increases. So here, if you consider the answers, they have given zinc powder and zinc granules. And the other one is dilute hydrochloric and concentrated hydrochloric. So when you take zinc granules and zinc powder has a higher surface area. And when you take concentrated hydrochloric, it will have a much more high concentration. So to increase the rate of reaction, answer should be zinc powder and concentrated hydrochloric acid. Answer number 4. Question number 32. Between a strong acid and a strong base, strong acid and strong bases, it's a neutralization reaction, right? So this neutralization reaction will generate a heat out of the system, right? So you have that experiment in your book also. You are adding a strong acid and strong base, and then you are recording the temperature, and then you are calculating the heat. You have that experiment in your book. So it's an exothermic reaction, right? The temperature will be increasing there. So it should be exothermic and a neutralization reaction. Answer number 1. Question number 33. A conductor carrying an electric current I is kept perpendicular to a magnetic field as shown in the diagram. Horizontal lines indicate the direction of the magnetic field. The direction of the force acting on the conductor is, right? So they're asking direction of the force, right? So to find the direction of the force coming from a magnet and a current carrying conductor, you should find it by the left-hand Fleming's rule, right? In left-hand Fleming's rule, you can see here, this thumb represents the force, index finger or the second finger indicates magnetic field, and third, it indicates the current, right? You can by heart this by having FMC, right? Father, mother, children, okay? Father, force, mother means letter M, it's magnet, and third finger, it's children, that means C, that is stand for current, okay? So place your index finger in the direction of the magnetic field, and then place your middle finger in the direction of current. So you can see that the finger moves into the paper, right? So answer number should be third one, into the plane of the paper, perpendicular to the paper. Question number 34. Under normal atmospheric pressure, a pure block of ice at a temperature minus 10 degrees Celsius was heated at a uniform rate until it was turned into liquid water. Then for some time after the water started to boil, which graph correctly indicates the variation of the temperature of the system with time. Okay, so when you are heating an ice block, what happens is the temperature will be rising up little by little until it becomes zero, right? Zero is the melting point of ice. So at the melting point, there will be latent heat that is absorbed into the ice. So normally in latent heat, there will be no any temperature difference, but it will take some amount of heat to convert from solid to liquid, right? So first one, answer is wrong because there is a rise in temperature at 0. Third one, it's also wrong. When you take 2 and 4, right? They say that after some time, the water started to boil. If the water starts to boil, that means the liquid should convert it into gas also. And then that means the water should come to the boiling point limit also. And at the boiling point also, there will be latent heat absorbed. So there is no any rise in temperature directly at the 100 degrees Celsius mark. So when you take 2 and 4 answers, second answer is the most suitable answer because in the fourth one, it is like not coming into the 100 degrees Celsius mark. So answer number 2. 35. Consider the following statement presented regarding natural rubber. It's a linear polymer. That's correct. Okay. Isoprene is a monomer. That's also correct. So you can see this isoprene molecule here. Statement C. There are crosslinks among chains. That's wrong. Why? This is a linear polymer, right? But if you heat rubber with sulfur, we call those as vulcanized rubber. In vulcanized rubber, there will be crosslinks made by sulfur. Okay, so these are the crosslinks made by sulfur. So to get that, you have to heat normal rubber, normal natural rubber with sulfur, right? So they are asking regarding natural rubber. So see, that's wrong statement. There are no crosslinks in natural rubber. So answer should be A and B. Answer number 2. Question number 36. Corrosion of iron can be controlled by keeping iron in contact with the bivalent metal M. What is the half reaction to which the metal M is subjected here? So if the iron is protecting, right, the metal M should be present higher than iron in the activity series, right? So here the metal M should be oxidized so as to keep the iron without getting oxidized. Okay, so if the metal M is oxidized, as it is a bivalent metal, it should release 2 electrons. Bivalent means the valency is 2. That means it should release 2 electrons outwards. Okay, so the answer which gives 2 electrons outwards are 1 and 2, but here first one is a more suitable answer because solid M metal should give 2 electrons out and it will form M2 plus cation. So first one is the answer. Third one is wrong because it's a reduction reaction, right? So M does not undergo reduction, it acts as anode and undergoes oxidation. 37. A 4 Newton force and a 3 Newton force are applied on an object on the same instance. Consider the following statement given above. The magnitude of the resultant obtainable at that occasion. A. The maximum magnitude of the resultant obtained is 7 newtons. That is correct, right? How to find that? The maximum force will be acting when these two forces are acting along the same direction. 4 Newton, 3 Newton. So altogether here, it will be 7 Newtons resultant force. That will be the maximum. To find the minimum, forces should be acting in opposite direction, right? So here, 4 Newtons and 3 Newtons are applied in opposite direction. The resultant force will be 1 Newton. So A is correct, B is also correct. Minimum is 1 Newton. C, the magnitude of the resultant obtainable is always 5 Newtons. That's wrong, right? Always 5, it's wrong. At some point, when there is an angle in between 3 newtons and 4 newtons, there will be 5 newtons, but it's not always, right? It can be changed. So maximum is 7, minimum is 1. When the angle between these two forces changes, the resultant can vary from 1 to 7 newtons. So maximum is 7, minimum is 1 newtons. So answer should be only A and B. Answer number 4. Question number 38. A strong bar magnet is moved into and away from an insulated wire coil with a large number of turns as illustrated by the diagram. So you have a diagram there, the magnet is moving into and out of this coil. Okay. So what is the correct observation about the instances of movement of the magnet? So when the magnet is moving in and out from this wire coil, there will be an induced current formed within this wire coil. So let's say if you are moving the magnet into this coil, let's say if the current is moving in clockwise direction, right? Let's say the current is moving in clockwise direction. If so, if the magnet is moved away from the coil, there will be a anti-clockwise current forming in the coil. Okay. So as you know, when you put the magnet into and away from the coil, there will be an alternative current that is induced in this coil. So at one instance, the current will be flowing clockwise. At one instance, the current will be moving anti-clockwise. In both of the instances, the bulb will be lighted up because the bulb doesn't need any exact positive and negative marks, right? So normally, you know, in our household circuits, we are getting alternating current, right? AC. So with this alternating current, we can turn on this bulb always. So this bulb will be burning at the both instance. The both instance is correct. But when you take these two LEDs that are present here, right? LED is a type of diode, right? So in diodes, they actually let the current passing only into one direction. So if you take this LED that is on the upper part, when the current is moving to this clockwise direction, this LED will be lighted up. But the LED which is at the bottom will not be lighted up. Why? Because that is blocked and the diode is not working. So at one instance, bulb and the LED will be lighted up. At the other instance, bulb and another LED will be lighted up. That means the bottom LED will be lighted up when the current is moving in anti-clockwise direction, but not the upper one. So answers, let's discuss the answers. In both instances, both bulb and two LEDs light simultaneously. That's wrong. Why? Because two LEDs will not light it up. Only one LED will be lighting up. Second one, in both instances, the bulb lights and only one LED lights. And that's correct, right? Bulb will be lighted up, whether it is positive, negative, or negative, positive, both. It is correct. But for LEDs, it lights up only when the current is moving in one direction. Okay. So answer should be second one. Let's read third one also. The bulb and one LED lights only when moved into the coil. Wrong. Without out of the coil, it's wrong. Fourth one, the bulb and one LED light only when moved away from the coil. That's also wrong. It's like the same as the one, so it's wrong. Answer number should be second one. 39. Consider the following statements. A. Biomagnification occurs along a food chain. That's correct. B. Toxic chemical pollutants concentrate more in the upper trophic levels of food chain. That is what is meant by biomagnification. So A and B are true, right? So they're asking of the above statements, they're asking both A and B are true. A is true while B is false. So answer should be, I told you, biomagnification is explained in the second statement, right? So both statements are correct. Answer should be first one is the answer. 40th question. A statement displayed on a board near a tank is shown in the figure. So it is said that it is you who turn the water in this tank green. Okay. So which of the following human activities in connection with the tank would have contributed most to change mentioned on the board? First one, clearing the area above the tank. So clearing the area above the tank will not give you tank green color. It's wrong. Second one, increase in algae population due to fishing. So when fishing is occurred, even though algae population is increased, we are not the ones who is responsible for that, right? Why? Because algae are growing when there's more number of nitrate and phosphate ions in the tank. Okay, so let's keep that part. So first one is wrong. Let's keep second one. Third one, accumulation of oil and grease due to vehicle wash. So due to accumulation of oil and grease, the water will not be turning into green color. So that's also wrong. It will be somewhat black and the oil will be floating on the water. So it's wrong. Fourth one, addition of fecal and excretory material to the water. That is the main reason. Why? When we're adding fecal matter and excretory material to the water, we will be adding those nitrates and phosphate to the water. So due to that, nitrate and phosphates, there will be large number of algae population growing in that tank. And that will cause the tank to be green in color. So when you take answer number 2 and 4, increase in algae population happens due to increase in nitrate and phosphate levels, right? So in fourth one, addition to the fecal matter, excretory matter to the water, that will be the reason for increasement of nitrate and phosphate in water. So answer should be fourth one. It is the most suitable answer. So that's all regarding 2020 O-Level Science MCQ paper. I think this video will be help you all to find the answers for the questions that you don't know. So thank you for watching. If you think this video is good, you can share it to your friends, and also you can subscribe and keep me in contact with you. Okay, so thank you and God bless you.